Greetings and welcome, guys, to State of the Mist number 3, presented by DPS. I'm your host, Justin Check. Joining me today is one of the greats. He is the one, the only, Do Your Best Bear. Do Your Best Bear, how you doing today, man?
Yo, I'm okay. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. You know, I'm really excited to have you on. Ever since we watched you shoutcast the Mistpedia Weekly, that one Mistpedia Weekly event, we were like, man, this guy is awesome. We got to get him on our show. We love watching your Twitch stream. Guys, if you want to check out Do Your Best Bear when he's actually playing his Guardian, he's over at twitch.tv/DoYourBestBear. Again, one of the most entertaining streams that we have here in NA, one of the best Guardian players we also have. We used to play against you guys. You and I were talking about this off camera.
Yeah.
What was it that you used to say to the Bear Cav?
There can be only one.
There can be only one. You used to shout that all the time.
Every time you see another name that looks like yours, there can be only one.
And you used to stomp us. Like, we would score maybe 50 points against you, and we'd be happy. So really glad to have you on, man. Been looking forward to this all week. I want to go ahead and start with Tournament of Legends 2. Let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. We've had this long qualifying event. We finally got our top 8 teams. The finals for NA are going to be on Sunday. Last week, me and my co-host Christian, we made some predictions, right? So I predicted Outplayed by Children is going to win 3-2 in the finals against Apex.
3-2.
3-2 in the finals against Apex.
That's incredibly generous.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to get your thoughts. My co-host predicted Apex. He thinks Apex is going to beat Outplayed 3-1. It's interesting. We both had those two teams in the finals. I think they're the heavy favorites going in. But I want to hear your take on it. We got the bracket up right now. Why don't you go ahead and walk us through your predictions real fast?
All right. So round 1, okay. Apex and PK is definitely going to be Apex because PK is just a CMC super pug. But it's not really super because it's him and a bunch of no-names, so they lost.
Okay.
Poor Tarsus. It's going to be an easy win. No Clue and Team blacklisted. Oh, man. Steb's team.
Yeah.
Spoongirl and Mila Storm are going to bring them to the ground. And that's actually up in the air. No Clue can actually beat them. So long as Hatua uses his Flesh Golem or Elite or whatever he chooses. If he actually uses his skills, they can do well.
What about those staff autos?
Yo, if he does staff autos, I'm just going to shut the stream off.
Okay, all right.
I can see my cat do that enough in the background.
All right. You know, that's interesting. That's the game I think is in the first round at least the hardest to predict. So you know, I think it's good that you're kind of on the same page with us. It shows me that I at least know what I'm talking about half the time.
Yeah.
If you agree, with me,
if you've seen some of Blacklisted's other games, like they get beat by pugs, they get beat by no names. They really don't have a strong presence on the battlefield. Spoongirl and Mila Storm are always day late and $1 short. So if Avatori gets in his floaty wheelchair and Hatua uses elite skills, they might actually have a shot.
Interesting, because I actually predicted Blacklisted. Because I think I like watching Mila play. And
wait, what?
Yeah, I enjoy him. I personally enjoy watching his style. I think he's actually a pretty good LE player. So I actually called Blacklisted on there.
I like watching paint dry, and sometimes that's more entertaining than Mila Storm.
I think you're gonna blow me up for it, but I actually enjoy him playing. I think he's a really good player. I wanted to make sure I got this right. If I remember, yeah, Steb. I don't know. I think Steb. I think the game is going to come down to which team's thief is able to push the back caps more, and I think Steb is able to do that. So, I think honestly, Steb is going to do a decent job for their team. I think that might be the difference. I think it's going to go 2-1, but I think Blacklist is going to come on top.
When you look at Blacklisted, though, you're only looking at the two people that carry that team is Steb and Narantian. So it's a Power Ranger and a thief that's in the downstate for like 80% of the fight. So it depends on which thief is being more clueless about what's going on the battlefield. If you looked at some of the past matches, Avatori spends all his time on Farpoint, fighting over a point he doesn't even own. It's leaving his team in a pretty precarious situation. So it probably will come down to the thief.
Okay, all right, awesome. I appreciate it. So so which one are you calling? Don't remember.
It's halvesies, honestly. I think it's a tough call.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Blacklisted has less shitty players than No Clue has. Pardon my language.
No, keep going. Like I said, we had you on for a reason. You're blunt and honest at the very least. All right. So you're calling Blacklisted as well, then. Great stuff. All right, let's move on. Let's go to Outplayed by Archangels.
Outplayed by Archangels.
Archangels. Sorry.
Well, it's basically a Super Pug versus a World v World guild, so the Super Pug will probably win.
All right, Outplayed. You're calling Outplayed?
Yeah, I don't even think you need to go down the list of players.
Yeah, I think I think just they've been such a strong force for the last couple of months now, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I've seen them take it to Apex. So I think going into that, Outplayed is obviously the clear favorite. If they lose, that's going to be an upset, and that's going to be a hell of a story. So. I think Archangelus has their work cut out for them. You got to show up, play big, because that's one hell of a team that you're going to be facing on the other side. So, if Outplayed loses, I think that's going to be definitely an upset. So, yeah, I think.
I don't think that's ever going to happen against the World v World Guild. They call their Vals when they use them. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Everyone walk through. We're going to get stealth, and then they all get friggin' blasted. Nah, that's a no-brainer.
Okay, and then we got Megalodon Confirmed versus Straight Outta Columbia bringing up the final. Megalodon Confirmed was kind of put together a little bit last minute. They've got a lot of players that used to be on Drenched by Baby Oil. Sorry. That was a team. Drenched was a team that I really, really, really enjoyed watching play. And I think Megalodon is kind of like. I think they would be the team that could probably take it to Outplayed in the semifinals. So I'm actually calling Megalodon. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, when you compare Megalodon and Straight Outta Columbia, Megalodon is just Super Pug number 874. So if you've got K-Pud, Var, Subcutie, and a couple other people no one really cares about, then yeah, they're probably going to win. Especially when you look at the roster for Straight Outta Columbia, it's friggin' Darth.
All right.
He's got a healing signal. He uses to carry him through himself. And Kizos. Oh my god, don't even get me started. The only thing you're looking at Straight Outta Columbia is AK to carry them, and I don't think he's going to be able to carry them that much. Like Banjo-Kazooie style in a backpack. It's not going to happen.
All right, so I guess in the semifinals, we've got Apex versus Blacklisted, if I remember our predictions right that you made, and Outplayed versus Megalodon. So far, you're following my bracket. It looks like, because Christian called No Clue in the quarterfinals. So far, you're with me. Let's see how the semifinals play out. So you've got Apex versus Blacklisted, and you've got Outplayed versus Megalodon. Let's do Apex versus Blacklisted first. Who's winning that?
That's a 2-0 for Apex.
2-0 for Apex? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No one can carry 3 Mongoloids around that well. It's just not going to happen.
All right.
Oh, so man. I actually feel bad saying that. They're actually really bad. They get beat by pugs.
So the defending champs go to the finals, right?
Yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah.
All right.
That's
all right, and then we've got at the bottom Outplayed versus Megalodon.
Megalodon's going to beat Outplayed.
Really?
Yeah.
You're calling it now, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to call it that Megalodon beats Outplayed by Children because Outplayed by Children has a retarded Necro that pushes far every round and dies. It's got Backpack, which is a heavily toxic environment for any team. And then it doesn't really matter who the other three are. Really don't even care who the other three are. That team's a disaster.
Okay.
Megalodon's got Sub Cutie, so he's going to Greatsword auto cancel from a distance. He'll probably never die. He'll also probably never do anything worthwhile. And then you got K-Put and Rar. So
Okay.
everyone's a tank and no one's going to engage. It's going to be a boring, boring fight. Man, if a Candace... Wait, is a Candace still on Outplayed by Children?
If I have the roster updated correctly, then yes. Unless they, well, now I know they had to use a sub in the third quarterfinal. I'm just trying to remember. It was I believe Zeus subbing in for somebody, but I can't remember who.
Oh, that doesn't matter. Zeus is old news.
Yeah. Well, he's an all-star. Come on, Zeus is an all-star.
Yo, Bear Pug beat the NA All Stars. It doesn't matter. That's on my Twitch. We beat them
get to
as
that.
a pug. Yeah.
We'll get to that. I totally, I did want to get your thoughts, but okay, so it was a Yeah, I'm just being updated. It was a Candace that killed for Zeus. I knew Zeus subbed in for somebody. I just couldn't remember who.
Because I was going to say, if a Candace was still on that team, it would be 2-0 for Megalodon. But since the Candace is off, it might actually be 2-1 Megalodon.
2-1 Megalodon. So he's a one-game difference, you think?
Yeah, just because a Candace can't play the game. Any keyboard turns. Yeah. Zeus does the burst. He might kill somebody.
Wow, you're, like I said, candid and honest that we have on the stream. I love it. All right, we've got Apex versus Megalodon in the finals. No, neither me or Christian call that. Who do you think is going to win, Apex versus Megalodon? Walk us through it. Apex. What do you think? 3-1?
Chubbs carries hard. H-Man carries hard. If they're still running two warriors, Megalodon's going to be up for a little bit of a fight. Yeah. Especially since Sub Cutie's got no survivability after he burns his stun breaks and his invuls.
Okay. So you're calling
He's going to get rushed down, yeah. Definitely Apex.
All right. Is it still the comp? I know everybody in Tournament Legends 1, afterwards there was that big, I know they've changed their comp up, so I don't think it's that. It's just, you think they're, better players overall?
I think it's
what
a
makes
combination,
Apex, I guess is what I'm asking.
That it's actually a stable team. It's probably the most stable team since PZ. It's had roster changes. They've been playing together for a while. The cohesion is there. They already have their rotations down. They do fairly well as a group and in a team fight. Regardless of what we think about the comp, they just play it well.
I'm glad that you brought up stability, because that's kind of like where I wanted to go next in our conversation. Stability is so important, and I think you hit it on the head. Where they are the most stable team in NA for the last couple months. They haven't had any roster changes. So I think that's a valid reasoning. That's
we'll be honest. They haven't had any roster changes, but Morph is still terrible. So he gets carried hard through all these games. But anyway, it's the most stable group. NA's problem has always been that it's been a small niche community, and from therein it's been incredibly toxic because everybody knows everybody, everyone shit talks everybody, and like I said, the leaderboards don't do anything to help people actually make a cohesive team.
Why is that? Why do the leaderboards affect a cohesive team, in your opinion? I just dive deeper into that. Could you kind of explain that point for us?
Coming from Guild Wars 1, the leaderboard was always team-based. So it was always, everyone was looking at each other and how to become a better player. Oh, I'm watching so-and-so do this. Later on, I'll tell him if he does this, it'll probably work out a little better. We'll go from there. But people were generally trying to help each other become better players. And I think it helped with team cohesion. It helped with playing together and just succeeding as a team. In Guild Wars 2, it started with no leaderboard.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, it started as, generally a team helping each other out. Mm-hmm. And once leaderboards and QPs came out, then it became a very segregated and niche community. Didn't help that we lost a ton of our community members like a month or two after launch either.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to, I think ArenaNet's doing a good job of trying to get those players back recently with the announcement of the WTS. What was your take on that announcement? Do you think that's going to help bring those players back?
Two things.
Okay.
The first is that when paid tourneys came out, that was probably the most competitive the game had ever been. And then they were scrapped because it was an unsustainable system. Just simply unsustainable. They could have worked that to maintain it as a self-sustaining system, but they scrapped the whole thing instead. So the Exodus we had prior to and after that didn't help the game any. We lost a large amount of competition. When competition of such a large degree vacates the game, you've got this vacuum of skill that's really hard to come back from. I don't think that we're anywhere near the level of competition that we had in the beginning. And for the people who left and are thinking or did come back, it's not enough to bring back the level of competition that was there in the beginning. I think that you'll have more teams form, but it won't be of the same caliber that we had previously. There's been a severe drop-off. And without a large and varied pool of competitive players to play against, you get stagnant metas, you get stagnant competition, you get all these things that don't change over a large period of time. We've been stuck in the same meta for the past year. Part of that is the development process to blame, and the other part is the low player base that we have to work with. That's of a respectable skill level. So if you're not looking at people that are going to move the meta forward or at least build counter metas to stuff like that, you're going to see quote-unquote Apex builds all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, just in the past month of playing this game again, it's just been nothing but 2 and 3 warrior teams. Not only is that incredibly boring to fight against because you know exactly what's going to happen, it's just repetitive and frustrating to see over and over again. It's just people doing the same thing because literally the meta has pushed all these other viable options out of the window just because this one niche role is so versatile in its execution.
That
So
and
those are
like
the two things.
that and the lack of you brought up a good point. I think everybody is very, very quick to right away oh, the meta is terrible and it's all Arena and its fault. They did a terrible job balancing, and you go on the forums and you read the rage, and I think that's there could be some arguments made that maybe some balanced decisions in the past weren't very good. I think personally that they're improving in those decisions. I think at the very least this meta is more enjoyable to play in than Condi meta or a meta that we had in the past. But I also think you bring up an excellent point when you talk about creativity. That lack of high performing players to create counter comps. I think that's a good point that you bring up, and something that I'd like to see in the NA community at least improve is more players, more high level players creating those counter comps to counter the Apex build or whatever super team comes up next. I know everybody's talking about cheese mode as the next big team build that everybody's going to copy, but I think you bring up a good point. And WTS, I think, is it the prize pool you think that's not going to bring the players back or encourage high-level players? You said it's not enough to sustain. I was just wondering why. Why is the WTS not enough to sustain?
So then back to the Exodus that we had mentioned. So people left for basically one reason that early in the launch of the game. Is that you had all these outliers in power that really weren't addressed. They released, for the simplest terms, an unfinished competitive structural game. So when we mention something like a counter comp to Apex, or even cheese mode being the possible counter comp to that, it doesn't change the fact that we're playing a conquest game, and all of your point flow comes from holding these nodes.
So again, it's the game mode then, is what you're saying.
I think it's a combination of all three things.
Okay.
We've been playing Conquest for 2 years now.
Okay.
So basically, your entire strategy involves taking a point, holding a point. That's really all it is. You get 5 points for a stomp. You've got your point flow from the points. That's all it is. That's why an Apex-esque comp does so well, and conversely, why a cheese mode esque comp does so well, because it's able to remove these heavy bunkers from a point, aka the warrior. You've got double endure, you've got cleansing ire, Zerker stance, you've got massive amounts of stability. I mean, you're just looking to uproot somebody and hold it. The buff to Celestial Amulet helped people do that. I at a far more rapid and successful rate than previous patches. This is true.
Yeah. So, do you think, I think the conquest concept is fine as long as you're introducing varied maps with mechanics that are important, And like, for example, the Guild Lord kill Legacy is the most popular map for a reason, amongst high players at least, is because of the Lord kill at the end. There's another mechanic involved besides conquest that can impact who wins the game.
And it requires a higher level of team play in order to make that successful.
Yeah, exactly.
So even if you look at a map like Faux Fire, the bosses are 25 points. So even with a moderate amount of...
Are you talking about... the Lord is 250. Are you talking about...
Lord is 150, and then I said...
150,
when compared to Forest of Neffel, the bosses are only 25. So even with a modicum of team play, you can still capture secondary objectives on your way to primary objectives.
Yeah.
The only other map that comes comparable with Faux Fire is Kylo, just because your secondary objectives are of such a powerful nature that it would make a difference on the battlefield.
So
AKA the Treb.
Yeah, the Treb. The difference in that team fight. How the Treb, if somebody's trebbing and you can't time your dodge and there's a lot of CC going on a point, that's a difference, right?
Yeah.
I hate being trebbed. So
because you're purposefully going 4v5 on the map just to put someone on a Treb. So
yeah,
you go into it with a game plan.
And then you've got to, if you got to coordinate with your team, because if somebody's trebbing, you've got to send somebody to the Treb ASAP to kill them, or not kill them. More importantly, kill the Treb itself. But so you don't think Temple, the buffs, the Omni buff down at the bottom, that comes up at 830 first, you don't think that those buffs matter as much compared to the Treb or the Guild Lord? I'm just asking from a rhetorical standpoint. Is Temple, does that have the same mechanic in your opinion or not?
I would say that top center buff plays a more important role than bottom center buff.
Okay.
Just because if you're winning by 11:30 and then you're winning at 8:30, you're probably going to win the game. Bottom buff is only one of those clutch choice decisions on whether or not to allocate resources if the game is actually that close. Because even if they send one person down there, you just send someone who can sustain. It usually ends up warrior v warrior, and then you just leave them down there.
Yeah.
And then whichever team allocates more resources to bottom buff in order to get it is usually the one that loses, because the rest of your team is decapping or capping points topside.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it is as important secondary objective when compared to other maps.
Okay. All right. That's fair enough. I'm gonna actually kind of agree with you. I don't think I think everybody kind of overplays the bottom buff sometimes. Like you'll see, a 3v2 going on down there, and it's like if that team with 3 down there could just break off and send one more to help on the side points in the meantime, you'd probably make more of a difference,
Exactly, because I've seen so many matches where people allocate way too many resources to bottom buff, get it, and then all their stuff is decapped within 20 seconds.
Exactly, because the other team is calling, they're about to get the buff, cover points. I know my team did that all the time, The second we would watch the bottom buff, the second it's being capped, all right, everybody get to a point, and it makes no difference. You just recap those points by the time they come back. So
exactly. I'm sure there's a level of teamwork there that's higher than, say, Spirit Watch or Courtyard or whatever other map you want to compare it to. But I just don't think it's as important a secondary objective as Lord or Treb.
Okay. All right. So
those make differences.
Yeah. So from a design standpoint, you'd like to see just more maps, I guess, like Kylo and Legacy then, from what you're saying, or just a completely different game mode entirely. And you think that'll bring the players back, or possibly bring people back.
See, I'm somewhat biased to this because I thoroughly enjoyed Guild vs. Guild and Guild Wars 1. You can either force a team fight, you can splits, you have a flag runner, you have all these different ways that you can cover and spread across the map.
Okay.
Because you can literally go anywhere. You only have one objective. Kill the team, kill the Lord, whatever happens, happens. But those are your objectives. You either death penalty somebody out or you kill the Lord and you win.
Okay.
So you're basically just fanning out on the map with these as your end goals. But for Conquest, I'm not going to say it's a more active type of gameplay. I think they're similar. I just think it's two sides of the same coin. I think if they had another game mode that had a competitive element to it, that people would probably branch away from Conquest.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think you echo a lot of the same thoughts that I've seen for the last 2 years. I think a lot of like high level players like yourself have said the same thing, and so I'm sure ArenaNet's aware of it. Hopefully they'll come up with another game mode soon and put it on there for us. So WTS, getting back on topic just a little bit. Is your thoughts on it then entirely negative, or what's just your general?
No, I think it's a boon to the game. I think it'll definitely bring people back. But regardless of how many people it brings back, those people are still rusty. So I think that by and large, it'll still be inconsequential. It'll add to the volume of teams that we have, but then we're going to have the same issue of whether or not those teams are going to be stable, how the leaderboards are going to affect the formation of a team, aside from players' individual skill level.
Okay.
So I think we'll have far more traffic, and maybe primetime will actually be primetime again instead of facing the same couple of teams over and over again.
Maybe we'll see. I think I'd like to see with just the dollar amount, like we finally have a huge cash prize, right? $50,000 is a lot of dough. I'd like to see at least a couple new faces, break into the scene. And I think if ArenaNet's able to accomplish that, I think they've done a good enough job. I
can see that happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about specifically just how to review for everybody that's watching how to actually get into the WTS. So Grouch posted on the forums this explanation. I just wanted to review it real fast for everybody watching and ask you a couple questions. So in order to get into the WTS, you have to play in the Tournament of Glory. That's coming up. Signups, unless I missed another memo, signups have been moved now to Friday.
Correct.
And sorry. Not true. I believe there's going to be an announcement made on Friday. I'm not sure when
about the signups, because the last thing he posted, it sounded like it said Glory signups delayed until Friday.
So I think the official kind of post about it has been delayed until Friday, and he'll give us more information then. From my understanding of the post, I'll look it up real fast.
That won't surprise me, because the main complaint that people have had was that the announcement to the signups and when you actually have to sign up were too close together.
Oh, sorry.
That TOL2 didn't end yet, and there'll be roster changes, this, that, and the other.
I've had a long day, and I totally botched this. I was correct the first time. I panicked and corrected myself. I just reread his post. It is signups are going to begin Friday, August 22nd. I should know that, but again, Friday 22nd. He says, I'm reading his post on the forums right now. He's going to delay the openings of Tournament Glory signups until Friday, August 22nd. So that is what the forum post said. In order to make it to the WTS, though, you have to make top 8 for Tournament of Glory. Do your best bear. Are we going to see you there? Are we going to see you in Tournament of Glory? Do you have a team? Are you looking for a team? Are we going to get to watch you play personally?
Actually, I made a joke recruitment post, but some people had serious inquiries, so I just went with it.
Really?
There's actually like a couple of new people who have a decent floor skill level that is definitely manageable.
Oh, good.
So we'll go for the gold, but I doubt it. I wouldn't expect anything super spectacular here. Plus, there's going to be roster changes from TOL teams, I would imagine, especially with Blacklisted. I can't imagine that they're going to bring those two with them. That's why I said the signups and the announcement are too close together. I don't think that's enough time, to be honest.
I saw that on the forums. I think a lot of top players kind of agreed. I think the reasoning behind it was mainly because the timeline, I know for a fact, is so strict, and Grouch has done a fantastic job of just putting this whole tournament series together with a very tight window. Like his window of opportunity is about this big to fit everything in that he's trying to fit in for the community. So I saw I saw the complaints, and I totally understand where the top teams are coming from, because you're right. There's going to be a lot of roster changes. My advice would be make those changes, and just email the TOs saying, "Hey, this team wants to register, but we're working out our roster." I'm sure some kind of accommodation will be met for all teams. This goes for all teams, not just top teams.
Well, part of the signups requires the email address of all your members. So
Yes,
now you
yes.
have all these people scrambling to make a team. You've got potential roster changes incoming. So it's a pretty tight schedule considering it's tomorrow.
The nice thing, though, I mean, not nice thing, but you know, the glass is half full side of this is at least all teams are in the same boat. So all teams trying to sign up.
Tournament.
And yeah, that's a fair point too. I think all teams are in the same boat at least. And at least you've had 2 days now to try to come up with the emails. I know, again, top teams, you're right, you're playing in the finals. I think it was Urantian that made this point in the forums. And I thought he was very articulate with his point, where he said, you know, top teams might be practicing with one group for the finals, but then want to start practicing for Tournament of Glory, and we're going to have all these roster changes. It's really awkward to motivate people for the finals of the Tournament of Legends 2 when trying to prepare for Tournament of Glory with a whole new team.
I think this particular position, though, is special because he already knows there's going to be roster changes. So
yeah, and
and who really cares? Because it's not like he's going to win Tournament of Legends 2. So just bail out of it. Let no team have a round 1 win for once.
I don't want to see any buys. You know, I saw too many buys in the qualifiers. I don't want to see any buys go down in the finals. I want all teams there, man. Like, please, no. I'm talking to you guys right now. Top teams, please, nobody drop out. Play the full tournament because, man, I saw too many buys. But
too many buys.
Too many. Like as a tournament, my round 1 admins just had all kinds of problems because, like you said, the rosters are so in flux all the time. It's hard to get 5 people to show up for a tournament these days, especially at the starting. You know, when you're just starting out. So we had just a lot of buys. I don't want to see that happen. But no, I think the complaints about the sign up date are valid. I'm not going to totally argue against them. I just think, you know.
As always,
positives too.
Good things are that it's actually happening, and the bad thing is that the way it's happening. That's it.
Yeah.
But it'll be here. There'll be teams forming. Hopefully the level of competition expands. Hopefully the number of competitive players grows. Hopefully we'll see more than one stable North American team. And I think it's a boon. I think it'll be a great thing. And we'll see once it starts.
Awesome. I think that's a great way to wrap that up. I think that's a fantastic way to look at it. So thank you. Last thing I wanted to ask you: you play Guardian mainly, right?
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part, I know you've got a killer DPS guard because you've completely dominated me like 15 times. What do you want to see? Like I'm telling you, man. Like you guys play a game on your stream, by the way, where you're trying to get as many points as possible. You don't care about wins. And
yeah,
then
it's lowest score pays up. Whoever has the lowest score pays 2 gold to everyone higher than them. So you lose 8 gold if you're on the bottom.
That's just an awesome like mini game, you know. Like I got a kick out of that just watching it. Real fast. Just give me one change that you would like to see Guardian have happen on Guardian that isn't happening yet, or one balance tweak. What do you think needs to happen to Guardian real fast? If you could give me just one thing, what would you give me?
Honestly, Guardian's gotten the shaft so much I don't even care. All I want to have happen is just fix Unscathed Contender. It's useless. Make it something else. I don't care what you make it. Make it summon like a frog that slows people down. I don't care. But Unscathed Contender is far and away one of the worst traits in the entire game. It does absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Holy crap.
All right. There you go. That's one change. Balance devs, you heard him right there. Do your best bear. Guardian expert giving his one change you'd like to see. I'm going to wrap this up with one question for you, man. Do you like pie or do you like cake?
Ice
pie
cream
or cake? You know, any kind of cake. Pie or cake? Which one? What's your favorite?
I'll have to go with cake.
Cake? Really? I had you pegged for a pie guy. So
it depends on the pie.
What kind of cake? Like, are we talking?
Ice cream cake.
Ice cream cake?
There are no other cakes.
Interesting.
I think I just picked 2 desserts, though.
You know, we're going to have you back on sometime to rediscuss this, man. I've had a great time with you. I really appreciate you coming on. You're awesome. Just got to say one more time, guys, Do Your Best Bear. He's probably one of the most entertaining guys to watch on stream. He engages his viewers when he can, but just the banter. If you could just watch him and listen to him banter back and forth with his teammates, it's hilarious. You also get to watch a really good Guardian player. So go ahead and watch him at twitch.tv/DoYourBestBear. Again, one of the best personalities in the NA community. So Do Your Best Bear, thank you very much. I do want to plug one other event, and you know what? If you're free on the 31st, I want to see you here, man. Because again, your Guardian play is impeccable. And on the 31st, August 31st. The stream is going to start at 3 p.m., but the tournament itself will probably start around 2 p.m., depending on signups. We're having a 2v2 tournament. Right now, the cash prize, I believe, is over $200, but we're growing.
Nice.
We're growing the pot. We're growing the pot because we're opening it up to crowd donations. So anybody that wants to can go ahead right now and hit the donate button down at the bottom of our Twitch stream and donate to the pot. We've actually had, I believe, if I remember correctly, we've had over 170 donated, something like that. I got stuck in a betting situation and lost, and I lost to Trevor, our producer, last week, and had a bet. I had to bet $100, so we've had about $70 in donations. But we also have an entry fee, so we have a $10 entry fee for 2 people, so it's like a $5 entry fee. And all that money goes to the pot. We don't get a cut from it at all. We're doing this just because we want to see more cash prizes in Guild Wars 2. ArenaNet, I think, has done a fantastic job supporting this game, putting $50,000 up on the line, $150,000 total, but $50,000 per WTS event. I think they've done a great job, but we're just trying to add to it.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, man, come on out, grab a teammate, and come play in our tournament.
Sounds like a plan.
Everybody else, again, 2v2, if that's your scene, come out on the 31st. You can go ahead and register by just clicking the link down at our Twitch page. I am Justin Check. Once again, Do Your Best Bear was my guest today. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.